We do have a WASDE report we're working through. That came out 49 minutes ago, so we'll break into that in just a moment with our next guest. But before we started, I thought we'd step back to one of the big stories overnight, and that was moves higher in crude oil. And again, we had CPI numbers out as well. Look, crude now at 83.08 a barrel. We're down 12 cents. We're lower across the board. And Brent crude is lower as well. From there over quickly to the equities, where we're watching the Dow still in positive territory. NASDAQ futures with nice gains, and the S&P, will we ring the bell again for all-time highs? Could we do that again before the end of the week? Well, we are moving higher here. All right, now over to the row crops, WASDE report, and, well, I think it's somewhat bullish for corn. New crop, 475, up 14.5. We're off the day's high. Beans, we ran November up to within a penny and a half of 12 bucks, and have pulled back now. We're down 20 cents off the high at 11.78 3/4, still a dime higher here on the session. Wheat market, it was off to the races before the report ever came out. 6.50 1/4. September, that's up 2 dimes. Hard red, we're trading 24 1/4 higher, 723 1/2. And then the cotton market, thought the numbers here were somewhat bullish, but the market has gone lower. Chris Robinson's with Robinson Ag Marketing. Chris, break it down. What's got your attention?
A month of kind of a surprising report. They did lower the production, but they increased acres. So, and the initial reaction, if you're a farmer, it's good because we're higher and don't really worry about the reasons why. We did get a big spike in Novi beans, though, 11.98 3/4, right back down to 11.75. So this is why these reports can be very, very risky. But, from a producer standpoint, this is what you want to see. We've got Novi beans back to 11.80. We've got D's corn back to 4.75. Any sale that you can do on the board this year above 4.82 is in the upper 30% of prices. So I don't care how we got here. It's a good place to be. And they'll dig through the numbers and everything. I miss the old days, Tony. They released the number before the market was open. You'd have time to dig through it and figure out exactly what was in it. Now you get stuff like this where, somebody's got to be mad out there because somebody got filled at 98 and then watched it drop back down to 75. That's the risk on these reports. Lots of times you don't get moves like that, but we did today. And like we always talk about, it's very important where we settle. What's driving the wheat? We're back to Russia and Ukraine. For the last 8 days, we've had daily trading ranges of 30 cents in the wheat. And tonight we go to bed, depending on what happens with that war situation, we can move another 30 cents. So the big takeaway is if you're a farmer or producer, you're always long. It's nice to see D's corn back to 11.77. It's nice to see, that's Novi beans. It's nice to see D's corn at 4.75. Nobody wants to go back down to 4.25 or 11.25.
I'm looking here at hard red trading 7.22 1/4 on the September. That's up 23. My question, though, is, we can run a market higher. Can we find buyers at these levels?
Oh, yeah, this is all based on what's going on. We've got excellent demand for our corn. Not so much for wheat. Wheat has been more sensitive to what's going on in Europe. We had a huge run up, and that's the kind of the good news, bad news. They've commoditized all markets. What does that mean? It means that someone that wants to trade Bitcoin can also trade corn. They trade everything like it's just a commodity, right? So you get these volatile moves. At the end of the day, nobody can argue with supply and demand, and that's why these numbers are important. We did get lower production, but higher acres. I think the key is the fact that we've got lower production. That's supportive for prices, and that's something that no computer can do, and that's why you get caught with moves like this where we're moving 20, 30 cents on a report. Where we settle today is very important, Tony, and then Friday's settlement. Lots of times we need a half a day to really dig into these numbers. So all in all, good action. We'll see. The driver for the week, though, absolutely positively, what's going on in the Ukraine.
Yeah, that Black Sea supply disruptions, that's been the headline story for wheat all day. Quick break here, Chris. Back with more markets on Market Day Report. Let's talk pork. Let's talk lean hogs. We are still higher across the board, up 72 on the October at 84.05. And 95-cent gains from both December and February. All right, how about feeders? Well, feeders still losses across the board. We'll not be able to get 2 straight days of wins in our pocket. The September down 550 at 339.75, a 330 and a half mark really on that October. It's down 6 1/4. Live cattle futures, yep, we're lower here, down 230. Most active October at 224.02. Final thoughts with livestock. Chris Robinson, Robinson Ag Marketing. We've had a lot of volatility.
Yeah, we've had more and more 6-7 cent ranges in the feeder cattle and 4 to 5 cent ranges in the fats. I think you could get a little bit more sell pressure here if corn stabilizes. If you see spot corn back up north of 450, 455, that could be a reason for some of these longs to lighten their load a little bit. We're still at relatively good prices when you look at where we've been for the last 6 months, but there's absolutely positively risk that we could have another a downward trend move here. So defend what you can. That's what I always tell my guys. Defend what you can. You don't want to get caught out here if we do have another flush lower. I absolutely positively watch the relationship between cash, the feeder index. We talk about that every day. The feeder index versus where the cash is. That tightened up recently. But I'd expect every day 6-7 cent ranges in the feeder cattle, which makes it very, very difficult to hedge if you're a producer. I think this is a market that demands that you have to use options because when you're moving 6-7 cents, it's very easy to get stopped out of your futures just when you need your hedge.
Yeah, great points. Chris, thanks for popping in. Know it's been a busy day for you. Chris Robinson, Robinson Ag Marketing. By the way, you can catch Chris on Commodity Wrap. He's there on Rural Radio 147 every Thursday on Sirius XM.
All right, a lot to cover, and we are not slowing down.